Hello everyone, welcome to this video today where we will be going over VAPI, which is, in my opinion, probably the best platform for building voice AI agents. And I know it says for developers, but truth be told, even if you are not a developer, this platform is very, very easy to use. And these days you can even connect it very easily to ChatGPT or Claude or any AI chat client that you are using right now can easily be connected with MCP servers, which means you can just type and it makes everything for you using just natural language. Now, I've been very, very busy with voice agents for the last 4 months and I've not managed to record any content of any kind about this topic yet. So this will be the first video where I'm going to give an introduction of how these voice agents work, just a high level. So and like a beginner perspective for someone who's kind of getting into this for the very first time, so you can get a fresh overview as someone that's just getting started with voice agents. Maybe you have no idea what VAPI is. Maybe you've heard of voice agents, but you have no idea how any of these things even work. And this is going to it's going to start simple. So I'm going to start with all the basics, and then as I record more videos, I'm going to get like very advanced, because you can make some super, super powerful voice agents. And the ones that I have now, they have memory, like an ad. Someone comes into an ad, it knows their name, email, it can research them in real time. On the phone, there's we're spinning up customized agents. It tracks them into your CRM, and we can get super, super advanced. But we're going to start with the bare basics, which is just making your first account and just understanding how these agents even work to begin with. So the way that VAPI works is it's an API, but once again, if you're starting out, you don't need to know that. All you need to know is you just need to make an account and dashboard, and you're going to get $10 in free credit. So that's my recommendation now. So we're going to do this from scratch and make your first account and get your first very, very basic agent deployed. And the truth is, once you have the first one deployed, in the upcoming videos, or we'll see how long this one goes, we're going to keep adding things on top of it. And before you know it, you'll be able to build a super powerful agent that's fully customized on your business, interconnects with all of your tools, speaks with everything. And yeah, but for now, we're just going to start with very, very basic, making your account, getting the first one up, and just seeing it work. Once again, I'm assuming you're brand new to this, you have no idea what's going on, and this is your first time getting into VAPI. So once again, ignore anything about development or APIs or anything confusing. All I want you to do is just click on sign up and make your account, and then you're going to be inside of the dashboard. Now, I already have a lot of accounts, so what I'm going to do is go into one of the accounts that has nothing inside it, so just so I can give you a fresh overview of what's going on. So VAPI is updating a lot, like as in they always have a lot of new updates coming out every single day. So what you see here was not here when I started, right? Like even like the Outbound and a lot of small things are basically not here. And this is going to be a simple dashboard that they give you. Now, it's going to have number of calls, the average duration, the cost, basic things like that. Now, obviously, once again, we're going to be able to do a lot of things with the dashboard. We're going to be able to manipulate the data later on. But for now, we're just going to start with the very basics, which is going to be the assistant itself. So the assistant is basically just your voice agent, right? So this is the thing that's going to go out. This is the agent that's going to call the people that you want it to call. And it can be in two parts, right? So it can be an inbound call or an outbound call. So if you have so inbound is very simple. It means someone calls your number, and then your agent will respond and speak to them and process their information or request or whatever they have to do, book a call. For outbound, it means you have a set list of numbers that you want it to call. So then it's going to go out and it's going to call all those numbers for you, and it's going to be like an outbound agent. And what that means as well is something here is called the first message mode. So once again, depending on if it's inbound or outbound, you might want to change that. So here in the dashboard, you can make everything yourself, right? You can click on assistant, you can click on create, and you can make your first assistant from scratch. Once again, there's so much going on here. And VAPI is like, it's like an encyclopedia of information, Ralph, when it comes to voice AI. Like there's 1,000 things you can customize. But the reality for today is we're gonna focus on just the basics, the absolute basic for someone that has never touched voice agents and this is their first day, right? So the first day to arriving for voice agents. So like I said, inbound and outbound, right? So inbound call, it means you have a set number and then someone calls it and then the voice agent is responding. Outbound, if you have your own list that you want it to call. And this is where the first message mode kind of comes into play, right? So assistant speaks first means your voice agent will say, hey John, how's it going? Right? Versus assistant wait for the user. Inbound call, they might say, hey, how are you doing? Or if it's an outbound call, in any case, in both of them, the assistant can wait for them to speak first, or it can speak first. So those are the two main ones. And then there's assistant speaks with model generated messages. Truth is, I have no idea what that even is yet. But most of the time I use a speak first one myself because I just want it to speak first. Otherwise it just sits there in silence and it can get a bit awkward. So this is probably the one you're going to use, is speaks first. As for waits for user, I mean, from the top of my head, I can't think of a use case right now, at least for what I do. Now, once again, voice agents applies to every single business in the world. Is probably going to end up using voice agents. So there's a lot of ways to customize this. So the default settings, as you can see here, is going to be 11 cents a minute for the settings that are here. So this is going to be the actual model behind your agent that's actually doing the speaking and the talking and the processing of the information. So in most cases, what I use is the default one, which is probably going to be OpenAI. You're going to use GPT-4o mini cluster. So probably just don't touch it, right? Like you're already here, just leave it as is for your first one. You don't need to mess around with the provider or the model. You also don't need to mess around with this. So, and you can see here that one of the main things that's going to go that is costing you is the hosting for VAPI, which is 5 cents a minute. So this is them being the fancy name orchestration provider, right? Like they are the ones orchestrating all the back end and all the stuff you don't want to think about. You just want to click and have your voice agent work, and you're paying VAPI 5 cents a minute for that convenience. Same like Uber, right? Like when you use Uber, you just click and it happens. With VAPI is the same thing. You click and things happen. And all you do is you just connect a couple of tools on top of it, and you control these costs, right? So the voice, for example, the 11 Labs, you're able to control which voice it is and how much that voice is going to cost you. And obviously, each time 11 Labs upgrades to new models, you'll be able to upgrade your voice agent and in turn, control your costs. And the same applies to the model. So OpenAI, you'll be able to change as needed and control your costs. But once again, the default one is pretty good to start with and get the ball rolling and get the first few agents launched. So the main thing that happens here is, so this is the assistant. So the assistant itself is basically just the agent. Like I said, just think of the assistant as the agent. Sorry, one more thing I forgot to mention here, which is the transcriber. So this is very simple. It just transcribes the call. So now, and there are also different models you can use, and there's for different reasons. Once again, we don't want to get advanced. We just use the default one, but it's just going to show you the transcription of the call. So later on, you can go on the call, you can see it, and you can essentially read through it and see what happened. Like, what did the agent speak about? Otherwise, you won't have a transcription. I mean, it can be turned off, right? So, if you're in a medical space, you're in this space or that space, you can turn off the recordings of the call. So this is both audio and the actual transcription, depending on where you are. And then if I move this out of the way, the other thing we have right here is the latency. So latency, this is just how fast or slow the agent is, right? Like how fast does he actually respond in the conversation? Do you have to wait for it? And and there's different ways we can optimize this, right? Like you see a number here, and it's going to be different if you talk to on the web versus if you call it on the phone. So here it's going to be lower. It's going to be higher when you actually call it on the phone. But honestly, my VAPI has been very, very good with this, and I've only seen good things from even when from all the tests we've done on the phone. It's very, very good, and there are many, many ways to optimize it. So whenever you see VAPI, you just got to think they have like the base layer of what all the things you can do, and you can always optimize little things. If it's too slow, you can probably make it faster. There's many ways to to do that. So inside the assistant itself, so we have many. So once again, like I said, we have the voice and whatnot, but let's get into the prompt itself. So this is the part where we set and we say who the agent is, all right, and what it's going to do. So this is the system prompt. So this is like a full definition of what this agent is going to do. And we use assistant when we want to have kind of simple tasks, like because you don't want to give it too many tasks in one go. The same way, right? If you call a dental clinic, someone picks up and gets you booked in, they're not also going to immediately start to do a dental surgery as well, right? Like they're going to do one task, which is just to book you in. And they can probably retrieve information from the database, from the CRM, see have you booked before, who you are you a patient, or you a new patient. And there's only so many things they can really do. Really important, they're not, the actual dentist themselves is not going to pick up the phone because they're busy doing dental stuff. It's the receptionist calling. So the same way with assistants, we don't want to give them 10,000 tasks, right? We don't want to say, hey, do this and do that and do this and do a million other things. We want to keep it very, very simple and just say, you need to qualify who they are and book them into a slot. And there's ways to split it up later on. Like if you have complex scenarios and you want it to do like 1,000 things, that's way later on you can split these assistants into multiple assistants so they can do many, many different things for you. And that's when we get into squads, but that's for later on. Right now we're going to go very, very simple where, like once again, this is Mary's Dental, right? And she's going to answer some basic questions and book into the appointment. So in this case, this is just a virtual one. It's not actually going to book anything in because it's not connected to your tools, right? It's not connected to your systems yet. It's not connected to your calendar. And more importantly, it doesn't know what your time zones are and all these other issues, which we are not going to get into today. In here, it's just a simple demo. So I can actually try to call it just to show you, and you should call it yourself right now if you're over here, just so we can see how it works. And I don't know if it's going to actually show the audio, but I'm just going to give it a try anyway. Otherwise, so I think because my audio is already connected through this, so I'm just gonna go to the chat. So you can, one thing as well, you can also just chat to it as well instead of calling if you don't wanna, because every time you call, your credits kind of get burned through, right? Because you're gonna pay the 11 cents a minute, like we have already kind of gone through. So you are gonna pay 11 cents a minute for it to process an actual call, even through the web. So if you want to chat to, I'm pretty sure the chatting is free, so you can just ask it a simple question like, I can just say, hey, I want to, I have to type with one hand here, so I want to book a call. And so yeah, so version, let's book, what's your first name? I can say my name is John. And then, hey, all right, John, what's the purpose of your appointment? This is checkup. I can say it's a checkup. And this is the same thing I would say on the call, by the way. So, if you're busy, you don't want to have to keep repeating the calls. You can just chat with them. This is a new feature they have. Once again, this was not here as well many, many months ago. This is brand new. So when we think coming in, I can just say tomorrow. So once again, this is a very simple agent. It doesn't know what day it is today. It doesn't know what my time zone is. It doesn't know what its own time zone is. It doesn't know what your business time zone is, or the sales rep that's on the phone, or, so this is a very, very simple agent. It doesn't have any of these functionalities. So even when we say tomorrow now, it's like, it doesn't know what time it is. Like, you know, what time works best for you tomorrow? I can say, just say the morning. I can say yes. And let me ask you, actually, I'm just going to say, yep, I'm just going to ask you, what is the time zone? Just for you to see that it doesn't know. Which time zone? Yeah, so I have no idea what time zone that is, but anyways, so yeah, so once again, this is a very, very simple, very basic voice assistant. And once again here, just you can play around with the prompt, and this is the system prompt that also lets you edit things so you can get it to do what you want it to do. So now let's say, for example, we wanted to, because it said it's in the Pacific time zone, but you might be in Europe or you might be in Asia. So you want it to follow your time zone, right? Like, you don't want it to just follow a random time zone. We want it to follow your specific one and also process the user's one. So this is where we can come into the prompt and tell it these specific things. All right. Now, when it comes to time zones, like my time zone, let's say I'm calling from Asia or I'm calling from New York, and the business is in London, for example, anyone calling can have a different time zone, right? So, and then it needs to be able to convert it to the local one. So this is where it gets advanced. This is what we're going to cover in future videos for how to give all this functionality, so we can, you know, go from the static, simple. This is what we call persistent agents, where it doesn't have any outside data, and it doesn't, and it kind of follows the same repeat process every time, and it would turn into a transient agent, which is the one that has the dynamic data, and it's generated for each individual person every single time. So right now it doesn't have any tools. It just has this text. It's very simple. If you ask, you know, which calendar did you book it into, it doesn't know, because it didn't book into any calendar, right? So, and once again here, you can also tell it to ask more questions. You can say ask for the full name, ask for the address, right? Ask for whatever more other information you want. And this is also where you can put in tools and tell it to use tools. For example, you know, like check the CRM to see if they've booked a call before, or check the CRM to see if they're already a patient, right? Maybe what issues have they had in the past? Have they already come for a cleaning in the past? How many months has it been? Or maybe in the outbound calls, you call someone and you check and you tell maybe it's been 6 months since they've had their last cleaning. So what you want to do is call them back and rebook them for a cleaning. So all these tools and all these things can be connected via tools. This is where it interconnects within the company. Now files, so this is the knowledge base. So this is where you just take all the information, all the training, all the documentation of your business, and you plug it in here as a knowledge base into the file section. So for this dental clinic, for example, you know, how does dental clinic work? What are the documentations? What are all the rules? What are all the frequently asked questions, right? And all the information that the agent needs to know about this specific dental business can go into the documentation here, and you can upload as a file, as a PDF inside files, and then it'll be able to reference it. So if it asks, hey, is Dr. John available at 5 p.m. on Friday? You can just quickly go into documentation and just check, oh, he's available at 6 p.m. Sorry, he's available at 6 p.m. This is something that can easily be done. Once again, even this can be made very complex, and you can customize it, and you can do all kinds of very interesting things using the file system, which is essentially its knowledge base. And you'll be able to also make it fast and efficient and pull the correct information from the knowledge base. So this is not the best way. Now, I'm not going to get into the custom knowledge bases that we use, but and just to illustrate a problem that simple knowledge bases have is, one, it can get clogged up because it has so much density of information. You know, let's say you put a PDF with 1,000 pages. It's like, you know, and you ask it, is Dr. John available Friday at 6 p.m.? Or does Dr. John do deep teeth cleaning or whatever, right? It has to sift through all of those pages to kind of figure out where the answer is. And there are better ways of doing it, right? There's better ways, there are faster ways and smoother ways to do it. And there might be different, inside the knowledge base itself, there could be different parts where Dr. John is mentioning teeth cleaning in different contexts. So the AI needs to know which one is the correct answer for this specific question and which one do we pull. And once again, seconds add up on the call, right? When you're on a call and you ask, hey, can Dr. John do tomorrow, can he clean my teeth or can he whiten my teeth? You want the agent to respond fast and accurately. So this is where you want to have powerful knowledge bases that can instantly provide your assistant with the correct information very, very fast. We don't want to sit there for 5 minutes just for it to check through a PDF. And there's all kinds of issues and there's all kinds of problems we can solve by having powerful knowledge bases. So you can ignore this for now. So tokens, so tokens is just, I guess you could say how many words it's going to speak in each response. Something of that nature. Temperature just means like how random it's going to get. So, if you make it, if you're running an insurance company, you want it to go A, B, C, D, right? Like, what's your name? Maybe you want to take it super low because you want predictability, you need compliance, you need all those things. If you're running, lead gen or whatever, and, more of a salesy conversation, maybe you want to go a little bit higher. So it really depends. If you're running a comedy agent, right, that needs to create jokes for the person calling, maybe you go even higher, like you go all the way up to maybe 1.5. So you can play around with this to see what responses you get. You can chat with it. But generally, you don't want to go too high if it's for a professional use case. Otherwise, you can't predictably have a response to what, because it can start cracking jokes and saying random things and have random outputs, basically. So now what we want to do is, voice configuration. So this is where you pick your custom voice. So once again, there's a lot of providers, and the specific model will have different costs. But essentially, you're able to add in a voice ID, and we'll do that in another video. But for now, I just want to give you a brief overview of being able to pick a voice and picking a voice that represents your business. So that's going to be a video of its own when it comes to picking the right voice. But for now, this is probably all you need to know. 11 Labs is one of the most popular ones, and there's all these providers. Hume that does interesting things, and then there's this one and that one. But for day-to-day use, you probably want to go with 11 Labs or just a simple provider that can get the job done. And you want to pick a good voice that represents. So it's mainly the accent, I would say, and the gender is what you want to go with. And here we have some more settings. So once again, we're not going to go into all the settings here. But generally, we can add in some background sound of, if it's calling, it sounds like it's in an office. You can put a custom background sound URL and do all kinds of customizations here. So the transcriber we spoke about earlier, which was DeepGram. So once again, this is where we can do add in more things. All right, just to give you over here. So DeepGram is one of the popular transcribers, and you can pick your language, right? The model. So once again, different ones have better abilities. So one issue you'll find is, you'll be on a call with the agent, you'll say a certain word, and the agent transcribes it as the wrong word, right? So let's say you speak to the agent, you say, hey, I am, I'm calling from Mary's Dental. It might write it down as something very strange. It might not actually write it out as Mary's Dental. It might it might write it as one word where it says Mary Dental, and it doesn't know what that means. So it might think it's a location, or it's maybe it's one word, it's someone's name, all right? So if you have specific phrases or terms, or maybe your company name, let's say your company name is VAPI, right? You don't want to think it's a person's name, or you don't want to think it's some location in America, all right? So, and you don't want it to transcribe it the wrong way too. So when it comes to transcription, if you have common words and common things that you notice the agent is not picking up, or it's saying it the wrong way, or transcribing it the incorrect way, you can put in key terms in here, so it'll be able to catch those words correctly. So there's a lot of things we can do with transcription. This is one of them, where we can filter out certain words and make sure those get transcribed the right way and picked up by the person as well. Now, tools, this is the most fun part. This is where you give it all the superpowers, and you can connect with all of your CRMs, your calendar, and anything else, right, into Slack, into all kinds of places. And predefined functions, so enable end call function. So what this means is, this is one issue you'll notice with your agent is it will not hang up the call, right? So it will just keep talking, and when the conversation is done, it will just be like, so when it will just start continue talking because he doesn't know when to end the call. So you want to make sure you turn this one on. This is probably one of the biggest ones, is allowing the agent to end the call from its end, unless you have a use case where you only want the user to end the call. But yeah, so this is the one you have to play around with, because otherwise it does stay on. And yeah, you want to be, because you also don't want it to just start randomly ending calls, because I've seen that as well, where the agent will just be like, bye, end up the call at the wrong time. But you don't want to give it the ability, and you want to monitor it to make sure it's using it the right way. And this is where we're getting into, how do you actually monitor these agents? Dial keypad. So you have some settings here as well. Forwarding phone number. Once again, there's like a million things you can do when it comes to VAPI. And now, so these are all the tools that we've given it. Now, analysis. This is post-call analysis. All right. So this is the part. So this is the stuff that happens once the call has been completed. Okay, so once the call is done, you're going to have a call log with an end of call report. So I might actually pull one up in a second, but that's just what's going to have the call recording and everything. And here you'll be able to put in some prompts to analyze the call. So let's say the goal of the call was to book an appointment. Then maybe in this specific case, what you want to do is you want to have a success evaluation or a summary to find out, okay, what actually happened on the call, right? Like, who was the person? Were they from LA, New York? Like, where were they from? What problem did they have? And why were they calling, right? So here you'll manage to get a summary, AI generated summary from here. So you can see here, you're an expert note taker. You'll be given a transcript of call, summarize the call in 2-3 sentences if applicable. So this is a default one. Success evaluation. So this is where you can check, was a call booked? So let's say in this case, calls need to be booked by the agent. So successful was the call booked? Unsuccessful, the call was not booked. Or did the user request a call and then was it booked? If so, success. Did they request and it was not booked? Are not successful. So there's a lot of evaluations you can do, and you can create rubrics and all kinds of stuff. So and there's many ways to evaluate. Once again, this is good. But even for our use case, we have our own custom analysis programs and scripts that we run. So I don't use this. Once again, for the ultimate agent, you're not going to be using this. This is way too basic for what you want. Also, this is not controllable, but this is basic for starting out. So if you need the basic setup, this is what you do. You put in your summary here, and you do this and you do that, and it will analyze the call for you in a very basic way. So here as well, call recording is on. This is what we care about. If you have compliance needs as well. Video recording, you do not need this, by the way, because it's obviously going to be a phone call. Speaking plan. So this is, once again, where you're going to have to play around with the agent to see how it interacts with the user. And this is also going to come from you analyzing the calls, right? Like, is it interrupting? Is it doing this and that? Now, this is a very good one to turn on, by this, called smart end pointing. So you want to generally turn this off, turn this on through VAPI, because it gives it intelligence and, intelligent way to know when to start and stop speaking. Is it perfect? But is it very, very good? Yeah, it's pretty good. Like I generally keep it on. And once again, there are more settings you can apply if you have custom needs, or you can see where you want to put things in. Voicemail detection is a big one, especially if you're doing a lot of calls and you're doing this and that. You definitely want to turn a voicemail detection on, because I've had times where, it makes calls and it was on the call for 10 minutes talking to a voicemail. And I had many of these. So it's costing a lot of money. So make sure you turn voicemail detection on. This is a massive one. Otherwise, you'll definitely be burning through a lot of money every single day on voicemails. Your agent will be there for 10-20 minutes talking to the... but one easy to prevent this as well is to time out the call after 3-4 minutes. But obviously, if the call is genuinely going on, you don't want it to just hang up. So make sure you at least have this on, and then later on, if you see problems, put a timeout. But maybe you can put a timeout anyway after 300-400 seconds, let's say 5 minutes. So you want to look at how long should a call take in your industry or for your specific use case, and then you want to adjust when the call should be ended. Stop speaking plan is it's the same thing, when the agent stops talking. So these are things you're going to want to play around with slowly and see where it makes sense. So there's a lot of variables. In general, keep it as is to start with, and then you want to play around with it later. Keypad input settings. Yep, says as it is. So if you want to add in a dial keypad, message configuration. So this is where things get a bit complex, and this is where we do our own post-call analysis report. So this is where a call happens, and you want to run it through your own systems. So one way we do that is you put in a URL where the end of call report gets sent to. So we're gonna get into that in other in other videos. This will not happen in this because this is very, very complex. And once again, like I said, if you just set up your own evaluations here, you'll be able to see it inside of VAPI, inside call logs. And yeah, so this is not going to happen here, but there'll definitely be videos where I go into in-depth. And this is probably the most important part of voice agents. Okay, so I'm just going to give a brutal reality for most people here, which is building the agents is actually very easy. Even the tools is pretty straightforward. You can just connect the tools. The hard part is managing, analyzing, and processing the end of call reports. Like I would say with agents, that's like 95%. It's just processing those end of call reports, because you need to check, did the call happen properly? Were they qualified properly, which means you need to analyze the transcription. Did it make the tool calls correctly? Like, did it book them in at the right time? Was the time zone correct? Were the tool calls called at the correct time? And 1,000 other things, right? And if tool calls fail, so let's say your call just happened and your tool call failed, you want a notification, you want this. So analyzing and processing your end of call reports is probably I would say it's like 95%. And this comes down to knowledge base, also analyzing the knowledge base request when you requested the knowledge base information. What was returned and was that correct? And so yeah, it's all about analyzing that post call, the post end of call report is what they call it. So, and you can see here, these are all the things that we can extract from the call report. Right? Did user interrupt? Did we make a transfer? Did we make a function call? What's all the data that came out? Which model was used? And literally 95% of voice agents is just analyzing this. Is analyzing those calls and then building a feedback loop so you can optimize your agent to not make those mistakes again. Or if there were any tool calls made that failed or were not made correctly or returned the wrong information, then yeah, and once again, because these calls are going to real people, right? So, and you're paying per minute, so each call is going to cost you a bit of money, and you're probably going to make a lot of calls every day. So obviously, you want to make sure that it's being done properly, which means after the call, you have to analyze each call to make sure it went correctly, Because can you imagine if you spoke to an agent and you told it book me at 5 p.m. and it books you at 3 a.m. Pacific time or whatever. Like you're not going to be happy about that. But at least if that happens, you need to know about it so you can go and fix the issue and find out where did this specific issue happen. And one thing we built is a powerful time zone converter, which we'll get to in another video. And this is probably this is a big part that I've spent a lot of hours working on to get a correct time zone converting setup, which actually works and converts things predictably. So, and there's many other ways, many other things we have to look at. Now, widget is very interesting too. So if you want to put the agent on your website, so let's say you have a large website with lots of documentation and articles and APIs and who knows what, right? Maybe you want to put a voice in so people can go on your website and just ask a question and get booked in. So maybe Mary's Dental is like, we just want to put it on there, and it's going to look something like this, where you click on start a voice chat and you start speaking with the voice agent, and it will be the exact same agent. Yeah, so, and you would speak to it through the web. So this is a cool thing to add in. Now, once again, it's this is primarily used for if you have like documentation, you have a lot of things on your website, and something people would use. So one thing I would say is, well, don't add too many things everywhere if you don't really need it, because now this is going to be another thing for you to manage. So just see if this is something you need and if it's going to be helpful. If it makes sense to have a support agent on your website. But yeah, because people are going to call it, right? And it needs to actually perform. But the point is that once you've made one, you made a persistent agent like we here. So this is a persistent agent, which means it lives in the dashboard. It's got everything on the dashboard. It does not have the custom memory or dynamic variables, and it's not made per person, if we were to say it that way. And we're going to get into this topic in more depth in probably the next video or the next few videos. But for now, that's all you need to know, which is this is a basic assistant that lives inside of your dashboard. And once you've made it, you can embed it into your website like this, so people can start speaking to your agent. And that's probably where we're going to stop it today. I feel like we've covered a lot of things. We're almost reaching 40 minutes here. And there's so many more. I feel like just to go through VAPI completely probably take at least 10 hours. So because I've gone through this. So let's continue this stuff in the next video. So next video, I'm going to see what we're going to go through. But obviously, we're going to build on top of this agent. And obviously, we want it to have... don't know what happened there. So we want to add in more things. So there's a lot more things we can in the next video because VAPI keeps releasing. Like I said, we have the MCP. So the truth is, you don't even need to log into the dashboard. So all of this could have been done with one prompt inside Claude or ChatGPT. So I'll see what we'll do in the next video. Are we going to get into the automations? Are we going to use the MCPs? Are we going to use this? So CLI will probably come later. CLI is more developer, which we don't want right now, especially if you're just starting out. But we're getting into the more concept, more aspects. And once again, my real goal is to show you how to build a super powerful customized agent for your business that speaks to all of your tools and is a fully transient one. And I'm going to be making a lot of guides and downloadable files and stuff, which you can probably download inside of my through the link in the description for free. So I'm going to find a way to compact them on a Gumroad account, so people can you'll be able to just go in, download, access if it's N8N or whatever it is, and just get access to any documentation. I don't have any community. I don't plan to open one anytime soon anyway. So I'm thinking any assets I make will be in the description through the Gumroad profile that I'll make, and we're going to go through things step by step. So if you have any feedback of what you want me to go through next, or you have any specific questions, please add them inside the comments, because there's just so much to learn when it comes to voice agents, that I'm more than happy to answer any questions and keep it in mind for future videos, because then I'm making the videos for anyone watching right now. So if you have questions, let me know. And if you're an advanced user and you're watching this, we are absolutely going to get into all of the advanced things over time. I'm just starting with very basic, just so we can start from the ground up. Absolute beginner doesn't know anything about voice agents, and take them to someone that's deploying full end-to-end transient agents that are basically an entire team member and doing everything for them with custom dashboards, and all that stuff is going to come later. For now, we're keeping it simple. We're keeping it super straightforward, and we're going to take it one step at a time. So next video, I'm still going to decide what we're going to do. But for now, we have this. So maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll just build a full appointment booking agent that can take inbound. It'll be like an outbound agent. So one thing was inbound is a little bit harder to build. So we'll probably start with outbound to keep it simple. Like an outbound agent that can call someone, or that can receive a call and book it in a phone call. That's probably the main use case people probably want to see. So we'll probably start with that, which is a booking agent, and then we're gonna make it more and more powerful. So we're gonna add the files, we're gonna add the knowledge base, we're gonna add more tools, we're gonna add time zone conversions, we're gonna add all kinds of stuff, and we haven't even gone to the phone numbers yet. So the next video will probably be sorry, I just saw my credits go down. I'm not sure why. That's pretty strange. 996. I'm just curious to know how that went down, but maybe it's from maybe the sessions do cost money. Oh no, chat logs. Oh, there we go. The chat logs do cost money. I was really wondering why it went down to 10. So, well, there you go, guys. So chat logs do indeed cost money. So this is a very new feature. And there we go. So chat logs cost money, and but it's very low. It's way cheaper than running the calls if you want to do quick tests. So we'll get into all that later. For now, today we've done a brief high-level overview of what an assistant is, the key functionalities, the key features, what it does, and then the next one we're gonna get into the next step. So I want to take it step by step. So the next one we'll probably get into setting up your payment method, setting up billing, setting up your phone number, because the phone number is a big one. So I think I'm gonna do the phone, because the phone number is like probably the biggest headache. I think I'm gonna have to do a whole video I think voice agents is literally half of the pain is organizing phone numbers, and then the other half is post-call analysis. The actual agent itself, it's so easy to make. So phone numbers, you'll see, are a massive headache, especially if you're not in the US. So if you're in the US, you're living the dream. And for me, it's fine as well, because we target the US, right? If you're not in the US, it's going to be a bit more difficult, but I will show you how to do the whole thing step by step, how to manage phone numbers, how to create your first phone number. I think we'll probably start with that. Otherwise, we can't make calls, right? We want to make calls with voice agents. It needs a phone number. So I think the next logical thing we'll do is set up a phone number with Twilio, which will be next account in the next video. And once again, I don't know if I mentioned, but you do have 10 credits for free. US numbers are free. But I'll still show you how to make a number, because I'm not going to assume that everyone here is from the US or needs US. So we're going to set up our own Twilio accounts from scratch and do the whole thing. Thank you. Once again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you soon.